Today we're having a shir in Torah Or, Dach Yomi, Daf Ches, Omid Gimel Dalid, the bottom half of the page for Parshas Noach. So we're starting to explain the idea of Noach and the Mabul in Avodas Hashem. So first, the Alter Rebbe brings the pasuk from Shir HaShirim. It says, "Mayim Rabim lo yuchul l'chab zava u'nahars lo yishtefuha v'shafeha rishvei shel heviska," which explains the idea of the many waters, and we're going to connect that to the idea of the Mabul, which is called Mei Noach, the waters of Noach, and explain what that means according to Chassidus. Mayim Rabim lo yuchul l'chab zava u'nahars lo yishtefuha imitein is kol han beisei behava v'oiz yavuzu loi. The many waters can't extinguish the love, and the rivers can't extinguish it. Even if a person would give all his wealth instead of this love, people would only make fun of him because the love is so great that even $1 million can't replace that love. So what are these many waters? This is all the challenges and the burden of worrying about livelihood in making money in this world. But even a person that he's worried about parnasa and making money, it's not able to extinguish his love. What love is this? This is the natural love that every Jew has in their soul for Hashem, which the nature of the godly soul is that it wants to go up and be included in its source, just like a flame that wants to go up and be included in the sphere of flame under the moon. So too, every Jewish soul wants to go up and included in its source in Hashem. Like it says previously in the pasuk, that the fire of the love of the godly soul is a flaming fire of Hashem, which is the flame of fiery love for Hashem that comes from above, meaning that we inherited this love. So it's a gift from Hashem that every Jew naturally has this great love. So the godly soul, before it was enclosed in the body, it was in Gan Eden, and it was having enjoyment from understanding and perceiving about Hashem, and it was completely united with Hashem, and there its love was very revealed. And there its love was So since the godly soul naturally has this great love, so even when it comes into this world and it has to deal with the many waters, which that's the many thoughts and challenges of making parnasa and worrying about making a livelihood, it not only does it not extinguish the love for Hashem, but it actually brings the godly soul to an even higher love. It brings the Jew to an even higher love for Hashem. So we're going to explain how is it possible that having worries about making money could get you to love Hashem even more. L'chora, if you're in yeshiva and you're learning Chassidus and Nigla and davening the whole day, so then you'll feel love for Hashem because you think about Hashem all day. But if you're busy thinking about making money, why would that get you to love Hashem more? So it's saying that really it tries to extinguish the love. It for sure covers over your love for Hashem, but it brings you ultimately to a deeper and more powerful love for Hashem. And so that's what we're going to explain. How does it bring you to a deeper, more powerful love for Hashem that you have to worry about in Yanim Gashmi, about physical matters? And to explain this, we're going to explain the idea of the Mabul, which is called Mei Noach, the waters of Noach. Vahine bechinas mayim rabim hanal nikrei Mei Noach, u'kamashakos v'ashen nishbati me'vor Mei Noach eidal haaretz kein nishbati mikitzoyf aleichem mige'arbach. So these many waters of the Tiras Parnasa are also referred to as the waters of Noach. Like it says in the pasuk, that Hashem swore that He would never bring the waters of Noach, meaning the Mabul, on the earth. So too, Hashem swears that He's not going to punish us again. So we see that the Mabul is called Mei Noach. Kihine Noach hu Naicha Derucha Shu B'chinas Shavisa Karam HaShavis Mei Malachtoi. So what is the idea of Noach? So the explanation of the word Noach, one explanation is resting. That person stops from rest and relaxes. That's one explanation of Noach. Like when it says in the pasuk that Hashem rested on the seventh day, the Targum says v'nach. So the word for shavisa, for resting, is the word nach, which is the same word as Noach. That's one explanation of Noach. But the Alter Rebbe is going to say that the idea of rest and returning into yourself, which happens on Shabbos, is also connected with having pleasure and enjoyment, which is from the word naicha derucha, which means having enjoyment and satisfaction. So this idea of Noach also means that you come to have an enjoyment and satisfaction. And so this resting and returning into yourself and coming to enjoyment and satisfaction, which happens on Shabbos, the Alter Rebbe says that there's two levels. And these two levels correspond to two levels of how a person in this world, by overcoming the challenge of making a parnasa and coming to a deeper love for Hashem, so that it comes to a deeper love, a deeper satisfaction in his connection to Hashem. And in this, there's going to be two levels also, just like these two levels of Shabbos. Shehu b'chenas Shabbos ita, v'Shabbos ila sheyeh lasid, sheniku yom shekolo Shabbos. Masha'en kein Shabbos ita enu kolo Shabbos kasher yisboyer. So this it says two times Noach, which that means resting, the higher level of rest and the lower level of rest. So that means that now there's one type of rest, there's one type of Shabbos. But last lava it'll be yom shekolo Shabbos, meaning even though every Shabbos you experience a rest from weekday, but then after Shabbos you go back into work. So it's not a complete rest. The complete rest will be after Mashiach comes, but then there'll be no more worrying about physical matters. Then it'll be completely Shabbos. So the same thing that when a Jew comes to a greater love of Hashem through being in this world, so that's only a certain extent of how much he's able to express this deeper love. Whereas when Mashiach comes, then it'll be revealed the infinite love that the Jewish soul has for Hashem, which he was able to accomplish through being in this world. Kihine lechur, and move on inyan hamabul. Shemha yurak lahavir ulashachis hanashim hachitim. Lam hutzrach lebechenes rash gadol kazeh. Haloi berega echad hayibeyicheles Hashem lahavir af beloy hamabul. So to explain this idea of how by being in this world you come to a deeper level of love for Hashem, so Alter Rebbe explains what's the idea of the mabul. Why did Hashem have to bring a flood on the whole world? That if Hashem just wanted to destroy the wicked people, then he could have just sent a lightning bolt and destroyed them in 1 second. Or even better, Hashem doesn't have to make them. Hashem is making everything every second. So Hashem could just stop making them and they won't exist. Why does Hashem have to bring this whole big flood with the whole warning and with 40 days of rain and a whole story? Ach be'emes hayamabul ba l'tara es hearts shenemar ki mol hearts chamas v'niskak l'moed v'hinitzrach l'tara u'azois ba hamabul davka shu b'chenes mayim v'chadi l'tara es ha-temim shu kedugmas ha-mikva mem se'ah shehi meteheres es ha-tami k'moikin haya hamabul ba b'chadi l'tara es kol hearts u'k'mashakasu v'zirak l'lecha mayim tahartem chulu u'azois nikroy mi noach shenase mizeh naicha d'rucha chulhu. So the idea of the mabul was that it came to purify the world, because the world was full of people doing bad things, so there was a great impurity and unholiness in the world. And so Hashem had to purify the world through this water, which was like a mikvah's 40 sa'ah. And that's how you purify somebody that's tameh. So there were 40 days of rain, which is similar to the 40 sa'ah, in order to purify the whole entire world. It was one big giant mikvah that Hashem toiveled the whole entire world into. And that's why it's called Mei Noach, the waters of Noach, because through the waters of the flood, it caused a greater satisfaction, a great enjoyment. What's the enjoyment? The enjoyment is that after the mabul was finished, then the world became purified, and all the people that remained in the world, which is Noach and his family, became at a much higher level. And from then on, the whole world is on a higher level. So that's the enjoyment and the naicha derucha that came about through the mabul. Hine shibud parnasa nikar gam kin me noyach l'kamayim result shabarcha le'Avraham Avinu shibud neged Gehenim. So now the Alter is going to explain that having to work and make money also purifies a person, that it gets him to this deeper level of love for Hashem. And he's going to bring a proof for this because we see that shibud parnasa is like Gehenim. And just like Gehenim is not very enjoyable, but it will bring you to come to Gan Eden. That only through being in Gehenna you can come to Gan Eden, because it purifies the neshama. It should be able to have the enjoyment of perceiving and connecting to Hashem in Gan Eden. So too, the tiras hapanasa, having to worry about making money and all the physical matters in this world, even though it's not enjoyable, but that purifies the person. Like the Rebbe explains in the Likutei Sichos, that it gives a person bittul, that through that he's able to come to a deeper love for Hashem. So it purifies him, that he should be able to have a deeper love for Hashem, just like Gehenim purifies the neshama, he should be able to come into Gan Eden. So too, the tiras hapanasa purifies the person, like the Mabul, that he should be able to have a deeper love and connection to Hashem than he wouldn't be able to have if he didn't have that. Kemoishi efshar lahana shamar b'lovoi began eden lehanas meziv hashachina ad shetered kaidem lachen begehinam kemoishi amru gabi acher mutav dil daine v'leisi l'alma de'asi v'gam nitful b'nahar dinur kemosh kasim macher. So just like the soul, the neshama can't come into Gan Eden and enjoy Hashem's presence until it first goes into Gehenna, like it says about Elisha ben Avuya, that he was in Gehenna for a long time, but it was worth it for him to be in Gehenna for a long, long time, just in order that he should to come to Gan Eden. And since Gan Eden is such an amazing place, that the enjoyment of 1 second in Gan Eden is more enjoyable than 1,000 years of being a king over the whole world in this world, like it says in the Chassidus, that 1 second in Gan Eden is much more enjoyable. So that's why it's worth it to be in Gehenna even for many years, in order to go to Gan Eden. K'moi kain and al yidei shibud yichalim lalis the maila the madriga hayoser gavoya. So too, through shibud parnasa, through having to worry about these physical things, and coming to this bittul, so he's able to come to a much higher level of connection to Hashem. Mihine shibudein apirish ma'sheish alanu ata melech v'shenetul meitanu mas shigam bizman beis hamikdash hayolinu melech Yisrael v'mas hayah biyoser ki yedua shechelek asiri hutzrach kol echad litain. So this we're saying that the shibud parnasa, a person is forced to work, and he feels obligated, that he's worried about it. We don't mean the fact that there's a king, or there's a ruler, there's a government that's taking our money, it's taking a lot of taxes. Because even in the time of the Beis HaMikdash, they had to give taxes. They had to give 10% of everything, all their income, to the king. So they also had income tax. So shibud parnasa isn't the fact they have to give income tax. What is shibud parnasa? El hakavana hi shbizman shebeis hamikdash haya kayim haya nimshach bracha v'ashpa tzuma ad she'etz Yisrael hayse eretz zavas chalav v'devash cholu shelo yal pi hateva klal kama shekatzu b'gemara sef mesachas ksubos v'lo haya klal daigus v'tiras parnasa. In the time of the Beis HaMikdash, even though they gave 10% to the king, but they weren't worried about parnasa, because they had parnasa b'shefa. They had a lot of everything they needed, v'gashmis, all their physical needs were taken care of, because it was a holy place, and Hashem gave them a blessing to have all their physical needs. So they weren't worried about parnasa. But now, after the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash in Golus, every Jew has to work very hard in order to have parnasa. So the fact that we're in this world and we have to worry about parnasa, worry about physical matters, this is called meinayach. This is called the water which brings enjoyment, it brings satisfaction. Why? Because these many waters of the tiras of parnasa, of the fact that we're worried about making money, this elevates the neshama to a higher level. That before when the neshama was only in Gan Eden, it only was able to have an understanding about Ziv HaShechina. It was only able to understand about Hashem, only a certain limited amount. But now that we're in this world, and we're in a place of darkness, and we overcome that darkness, and serve Hashem, and come to love Hashem through davening and learning and doing Torah mitzvahs. So now we're connecting to a much deeper level of Hashem than just Giluyim, than just a revelation of Hashem. We're connecting to the essence of Hashem through overcoming and transforming the darkness into light. So that's why one moment, 1 hour of doing Torah mitzvahs in this world is better, is higher than all of Olam Haba. All the levels of Gan Eden are not comparable to doing one mitzvah in this world and to serving Hashem and overcoming the challenges of the Tirdas HaParnasa and Inyanim Gashmim, overcoming the challenges of physical matters in this world is much greater than all of Gan Eden. Why? Because it's called Yisron Or Mitercha Choshech. That when you have everything is light, so a little bit of light isn't a big deal. But when everything is dark, so that light is noticeable from even very far away. It's a much more powerful light. So that when a Jew is serving Hashem and doing Torah mitzvahs in this world, this is a much greater light, a much greater connection to Hashem that he can accomplish than even when his neshama was in Gan Eden, when there was all light. This little bit of light that he has here is a much greater light than the light in Gan Eden. And that's called also Iskafia and Ishapcha. It's not just that there's light in the place of darkness. You actually are transforming the darkness. You're taking the place where there's darkness, and not only are you overcoming the darkness, you're making that darkness itself should become light. That the physical matters in this world should become part of Torah mitzvahs. So this light, which comes from transformed darkness, is a much greater light than the light in Gan Eden.
מלמטה יש אין למזל מלמעלה חולו, שהם מזל, שהם משפיעים חייס כל מה זה, כל מה שכסף מגד תרוס שמש ומגד גרש חולו, מזל שהם מקבל מעין סרם, הסרם מקבל משמרי הרפנים, מהם מקבל מהמלאכים, הגבויה מעל גבויה עד שכולם מקבל מכנס מלכוס יסברך כל מה שכסף מלכוס חם, מלכוס כל העולמים, שמהווה אז כל העולם יסמין איש ממש, והוא רק בכנס זיו השכינה בלבד, שאינו אלא בכנס זיוור בעלמא בלבד, גם הוא שבעצמוס יסברך כביכול, שוב בבכנס אינסוף ממש, היה הוי ויהיה בלי שוני ממש, כמאמר עטו עד קודם שנברא, ועד לאחר שנברא חולו.
So, how does it happen that you come to this deeper light, this transformed light? That happens by davening. That's when you feel that you come to a deeper connection to Hashem by being in this world and even Gan Eden. How do you feel that by davening? Because by davening, if you realize that everything in this world is very, very limited, it's all the life that's in this world is only from the lowest spiritual level, it's only from the Shamrei Afanim, which is incomparable to the higher level and compared to its ultimate source, it's like nothing. It's like one word compared to your whole soul. It's like one word compared to your thought, compared to your intellect and your emotion, like explained in Tanya. That one letter of one word is like nothing compared to your whole soul. So everything that's in this physical world is like nothing. It's only one word of one letter of one word of one thought. And that's all that you're able to see and connect to in this world. Whereas through Torah mitzvahs, connecting to the essence of Hashem, which is Hashem is even higher than all the spiritual worlds, and even higher than Atzilus and all the worlds of Seder Shtalshalus. Hashem is infinite, and you're connecting to the real infinite truth of Hashem through Torah mitzvahs. So then you'll realize the Richok Erech, you'll realize how incomparable it is, the physical things that you're involved with, and the Torah mitzvahs you're involved with, that they're min hakatza lakatza. They're completely opposite extremes. That the physical things are the lowest level, and the Torah mitzvahs is the highest possible connection you can have to the essence of Hashem. And when you realize these two extremes, then you'll come to feel this great love for Hashem by davening. So Bez Hashem will continue tomorrow explaining this idea of the hispoinus by davening, what you think of by davening in order to realize the advantage of being in this world, and why that's called Meinayach.